Something's wrong. And it's not always the person. It's the systems that will guarantee your success. The biggest challenge I've had is getting people to understand why they need to execute on the system. And the differentiator between those who are successful and those who are not clearly starts with having that system in place. Most people think in order for me to grow, I've got to move my work week from 50 hours a week to 110 and maybe include Saturdays and Sundays. And you can't do that, Jason. Most people have to learn the hard way. The problem is that
well, welcome back to Take the Power Back. Today I have a special guest, my friend Mike Vietri, Chief Distribution Officer at Amerilife. Our relationship goes back, I don't know, probably 2008 is when I first met you.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
First, let me say thank you. I appreciate you more than, well, I think you do know how much I do appreciate you. You definitely
you make me feel good about that.
Yeah,
so.
you help me fight the battle every day and give me wisdom and guidance. Good times, bad times doesn't make a difference. You've always been a good friend. So first of all, thank you for doing that. So I guess you know, as you know, Mike, this is my passion project. Take the Power Back is about changing the narrative for the Gen Z, the current Gen Z generation. That people, I think, have it wrong. You know, I think they think that young people are lazy and they're entitled and they don't want to work hard and they don't want to be successful. And that's really the minority, not the majority. What I have seen, and I'd be interested in getting your thoughts on it, is this burning desire of a young generation to make it big. They want to chart their own course, sort of like your and my generation did. Mm-hmm. They're very smart, smarter than probably we ever will be. They're very collaborative. They work well in teams. They push really hard and they push each other. And what they really need is guidance and leadership from people like you, right, to kind of give them a direction. So let's start off with, you know, tell us a little bit about what you actually do today. What's your role, title, and what do you do today?
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Jason. It's always a pleasure to be with you. And certainly I appreciate everything you and your firm has done for the industry. Mm-hmm. And not only most recently, but over the years, I've watched you grow. I've watched you bring in some really, really top flight people in the organization, and it's serving you well. And most importantly, it's serving the people who've joined your organization extremely well. Yeah. And I've now had a chance to look at that for the last couple of years, and I know it's only the beginning.
Yeah, it's only the beginning.
It's only the beginning. So, but yeah, so currently I'm the Chief Distribution Officer for Amerilife. For our wealth business, which includes all of the annuities that we distribute, the life insurance. We have an institutional business. We have a broker-dealer. We have an IRA. So basically, any platform that a consumer would need as they go through the phases of acquiring wealth and making sure they leave a legacy and protect their loved ones if they leave or die too early is what our business is all about on the health side.
Great.
On the wealth side, I should say. We also have a health business, which I ran that for a number of years. Our health business is really designed to take care of those who are turning age 65, need Medicare solutions, and also a final expense business. So it's a pretty wide net in terms of the offerings that we have within the organization. Mm-hmm. And we do that all through our sales organizations of each of those product lines that I mentioned. And that's really the key in my mind. We don't manufacture product. We don't invest in real estate. We don't have a portfolio of products that we have to manage. Mm-hmm. We just make it a point to bring in good, strong salespeople, sales advisors who distribute those products. And you've done that better than anyone.
Well, thank you.
In our industry, in my mind.
So when you, just so people understand that, you know, how big of an organization is this? Like it's a very impressive, massive behemoth of an organization that you oversee. So talk a little bit about the scale and size of it.
Yeah, we are big, and we've grown tremendously over the last 4 years. And that's really been attributed to, one, the marketplace. The market continues to present a great opportunity for people to join the firm. Mm-hmm. We've done that through organic growth by helping our existing advisors grow their productivity, expand their marketplace. And of course, we've done that through some acquisitions, as you well know. Yeah. And bringing in the right organizations that have strong salespeople is what we pride ourselves on. We don't feel we need to go out and acquire a lot of properties, but we do need to acquire properties with great leadership, with organizations who continue to capitalize on the marketplace of both the baby boom generation, the generations behind the baby boom generation, and most importantly, make sure that we're providing value to clients and giving them the product choices that they need. Helping us do that, or the people that really do that, is we have about 500,000 people, 500,000 people distributing our health products.
Wow.
We have over 200,000 distributing our annuity products, our RIA platform, which is a registered investment advisor platform. We have about 1,000 agents that distribute our products and services in that marketplace. And in our institutional business is extremely large. We provide products and solutions to some of the largest institutional clients in the industry. So we're very, very large. We continue to grow market share. We've had some record increases in profitability and productivity over the last 4 years because of the training and development and commitment that we've made to these people. But equally important, the leadership locally in the firms that really manage these advisors day to day has been instrumental. So having a very strong management team, and we've got over 100 managers in our organization, principals as we call them, with a full range of support within their organizations, their infrastructure, to make sure that we provide the training, development, and keep up with the marketplaces and obviously provide the solutions.
So basically, Mike, you're a big deal.
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day, right? I admire your ability to navigate that role. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it as good as you. And I commend you on some things because I think it's important for people to understand that being a corporate athlete is very, very challenging. Yeah. Right? So when I say corporate athlete to you, what does that mean to you, and how do you navigate it?
That's really a great term. I like that, the corporate athlete, because I do think there's a big correlation between being an executive for a large organization, being executive within an organization in our field distribution. And I'll share a couple of things that I think really parallel each other as you look at coaches or you look at athletes who start playing Pop Warner football.
Yeah.
And they prepare themselves for playing high school, which everybody wants to do. And then, of course, as you go up that chain and you begin to recognize that now from a standout high school athlete in your local community, then now you're competing with some D1 individuals at the college level from all over the country. There's a big significant change that you have to prepare yourself for as you go through that. So not only the physical training, the agility, the speed, and obviously having the wherewithal to take all of that physically, but equally important is the ability to think and anticipate what's next or what are you going to need to do to continue the growth of yourself as an athlete. And I don't think that's any different than corporate. I started as an agent in this business many years ago. I spent 5 years there. I got some really good grounding and understanding of what this business is about, but most importantly, what sales is all about. And how do you really position yourself to grow your business, grow yourself, make sure you're making the necessary investments in terms of self-developing and being with people that will help you to develop and getting some mentors along the way is more paramount and more critical as you continue to grow in the company. And so if you think about the risk factor, which goes along with this, because when you're an agent, an advisor, you're an independent advisor. You're doing your own thing. You're growing your business. And you really pretty much have to meet your own goals within your practice to really excel and be recognized. And we have a lot of tremendous people in our organization who are outstanding advisors, and they want nothing to do with management.
Right.
And I'll come back to the management athlete in just a second. But when you do make a decision to lead people, it's critical that not only you have the success in the organization that you need to have to lead people and understanding of what the business is all about, but I think having the leadership abilities to guide people or organizations and take them to a new level to either fill a gap or, most importantly, help them grow their business without working more hours.
Right.
And that's really, really important because most people think in order for me to grow, I've got to move my work week from 50 hours a week to 110 and maybe include Saturdays and Sundays.
You just can't do that.
And you can't do that, Jason. I mean, you know that very well. But most people have to learn the hard way. The problem is that you can only be in so many places and focused on so many things. And keeping your eye in management on the opportunities that you have and the responsibility of leading your people to more opportunities within the marketplace or helping them grow their business sounds easy when we have this conversation, but it's very, very difficult to do without constantly making sure you're feeding yourself with the right information, you're becoming a student of leadership, and equally important, you have the ability to communicate across the organization in a way that is paramount and critical for you to grow. Now, let me give you a couple examples of that. When you think about large organizations and managing up, and that means making sure your supervisors know what's going on.
Yeah.
Your partners know what's going on. And of course, the most important people are the revenue generators. They know what's going on. People have a hard time growing and becoming a professional athlete unless they understand what the need is and how they can improve. Most people think that they can just go in there and run the play and I'm going to be fine even though I'm at a different level. That's a recipe for disaster and a recipe to be out of the business or out of the sport that you're participating in.
Right.
So what I've found is that the leaders have a unique ability to communicate what may seem like the most simplest issue or challenge. And maybe some people just ignore that. But I can tell you, if you're in a big corporation and you're leading, and even in a corporation at the local level, without communicating, you're not going to get the support you need.
Yeah, it's communication times 10.
Communication times 10, and many people think that they can sort of not have a good relationship with the lower or underlings within the organization, and they kind of disrespect them. But I can tell you that's a mistake. That's a road for disaster and a big mistake, because everybody in an organization can help you get to where you want to go.
And you never know who that next person is.
You never know who it is, and I've seen some really successful leaders get sidetracked by getting involved in things that they shouldn't be involved with, or lack of communication, because people cannot follow you to the degree that they're capable of if you don't communicate with them and tell them why they need to continue to develop and follow the lead.
Now, there's something interesting that you said, and I want to make sure we capture this. So when you're in a leadership role, particularly as a corporate athlete, right, it's not, your ego doesn't lead from here down.
No.
Your leadership position, no matter where you are, is like a compass, and you're in the middle of that compass. So you have to lead up.
Yep.
You have to lead across. You have to manage multiple relationships with different people with different initiatives, while at the same time really taking care of the client, which is anybody who's really below you.
Exactly.
And that's really hard to keep that relationship all managed at the same time. What tips would you give? What's the best way to navigate? And communication obviously is that, but how do you deal with somebody who doesn't, how do you help somebody who you're trying to help that you can't help get aligned with actually doing a better job?
Yeah. I would say, I think I understand what you're asking, but I would say that you have to, first of all, get to know them.
Personally.
And you have to have a success system, a disciplined success system that they can execute on their own after they've gone through what I call the boot camp that leads to the ultimate level of productivity or a strong career. So first thing that's important is making sure you've got the recipe to guarantee success, providing they follow the recipe.
So you have to have the system first.
If you don't have the system, you don't have a chance.
Right.
The second thing I think is important, going back to the communication, is making sure that individual or that leadership team understands why we need to go at it this way. So the system, why do we need to use this system? Let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. And so when you begin to explain and get them to buy in as to why this activity, for example, would be important, it's important to understand why and what's the end result. And because the most frequently asked question you get when you interview candidates is what?
What's the system? Culture. It's about culture.
It's about culture.
Right.
How's the culture? How do I get to be you, Jason?
Right.
How do I get to be part of your management team?
Yep.
Right? And I know you've got those recipes, and they don't stray at all from,
No.
from just because someone is a little bit experienced or someone's brand new. The recipe for success, if you want to become successful, is a non-negotiable, in my
Right.
opinion. So having the system, communicating the system, and making sure you inspect it out of the gate, because most people don't understand how important it is to follow the system when they're new in the business,
Yeah.
is important to have someone who understands and is committed to helping those people become successful by holding them accountable to the systems. So to me, it also requires a lot of discipline. You know, some people will say, oh, well, that person doesn't have the discipline to make it in this business. Well, that's pretty broad.
That's too broad. Yeah.
I don't know how you pin that down.
Yeah.
Right? You really can't.
No.
Or that person doesn't have the personality. That person's not a hard worker. Well, something's wrong, and it's not always the person.
It's a system.
It's the systems.
Yeah, it's a system.
Systems that will guarantee your success. The biggest challenge I've had is getting people to understand why they need to execute on the system.
Yeah.
And the differentiator between those who are successful and those who are not clearly starts with having that system in place.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So when you think about, and I really appreciate this about you because I've seen you do it in so many different situations, you're always able to keep the relationship strong, right? Even though the process or the situation is hard.
Yeah.
You know, somebody once said to me that, you know, feedback without relationship is harassment.
Yeah.
So how do you manage, how do you keep those relationships so strong with the competing initiative? You still need to get something done.
Yeah.
So you and I have had battles, right? But we walk out and we hug and we go have a glass of wine.
Right.
Right. So how do you manage that? What's going internally, what goes on in your head in terms of the process that you follow to be able to keep that relationship strong?
Yeah. I think the most important thing, and you know, it never becomes second nature, but because I think about this a lot every time I have a meeting, a one-on-one, a group meeting where it's probably not going to be the most popular conversation in the beginning.
Which you have to do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to think that through. But I think what people really regret and resent is attacking them personally and not understanding where they're coming from.
Right.
So to me, I always try to put myself in your shoes.
Yeah. Whoever the person is.
Or whoever I'm speaking with, whoever I'm meeting with, to say, hey, this person's coming in very upset over this particular situation. Get yourself inside of his or her head and how you would be acting
Given
that situation. And I think if you lead with some nice introduction and reacquainting each other that you are in this business together, it's a relationship, you know, instead of coming in and starting a shouting match and no, we're not doing this or we're going to do this my way.
Yeah.
I think you've got to have sort of you got to have a relationship and a trust factor. And without that, you're never going to get to the real meat.
Yeah.
Right. But once you have that, don't be afraid to exercise that conversation up front and talk about how things are going in general. The worst thing you do is jump right in.
Yeah.
So keep that relationship up front and then talk about and give that person the opportunity to talk. There's no prescription without knowing what the illness is.
Yeah, you have to listen to the illness first.
You got to listen to the illness. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, you know, the analogy I've heard over the years, and I'm sure you've heard it, is when you go to a doctor and you say, Doc, I've got a sinus infection. I get it every year in the wintertime because I fly a lot. You know, give me the prescription.
That's right.
Right? He's not going to flip you the prescription. He may eventually. But he's going to ask you a series of health questions.
Yeah.
Right?
Have you had
As
a
to
heart
why-
attack, a
Have
stroke?
you had a heart attack? Have you had a stroke? You know, when did this
Change it.
start? Do you
Yeah.
fly a lot? Right? Did you get your vaccine? Whatever it may
it is.
be. But that's important in business. That's critical in business to really be thorough and understand why this person is coming in to have this conversation and put yourself in their shoes, because it's a relationship business. Any sales position, any business,
Any leadership position.
any leadership business, right? You have to have the relationship and be sensitive and compassionate about what people are going through. Doesn't mean you agree with them. Doesn't mean you give in, but it helps to put yourself in their shoes. And many times, most times than not, I walk away with a different impression than when I started the meeting with.
So, but you're open to that. So you
Open
go
to
into that with an open mind saying, you know what, I'm going to find out what the problem is and what the solution is, but you don't have the solution until you know the problem.
Amen.
So you can't predefine what you do when you go into it. You just got to kind of let it sort itself through.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very cool.
And I see that, by the way, it's not only newly appointed managers or leaders. I see that at the highest levels in companies. I've seen it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the role.
Right? It doesn't
matter
matter
how long you've been in the role.
And the other thing to keep in mind is that people will follow the leader if they're treated with respect.
Yeah.
Once you lose that, you just treat people any old way, and you're unpredictable. I mean, I've seen some people are very unpredictable.
Oh, yeah.
And they're afraid to go in and have the conversation.
Yeah.
Once someone's afraid to talk to their leader, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting because, and this is that lead up, lead down, lead sideways, right? There's never not confronting whatever problem that is because they don't want to talk to their leader is never the solution. It's only going to make it worse.
Right.
So it's always avoidance is never going to solve any problems in any organization.
It never does. It only gets worse.
It only gets worse.
And I also think, Jason, the other side of that is, as a leader, and I know you've done this, you practice it well, is sharing with them why you have your position.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just say, well, yeah, it's okay, Jason, that's your opinion, but sharing with them what you're dealing with as a leader.
Yeah.
Right? Jason, I'd
pressures
love
too.
to. However, here's the challenge.
It's a challenge.
Help me get through the challenge, because here's why we can't do that right now.
Right.
And many times you say, okay, let's get together in 6 months and we'll look at it then. Or, you know what, that's an interesting, let's brainstorm that.
Yeah. We can find middle ground.
We can find middle ground.
There's
It's not
always
going to be a
common
win. Hey, Jason won. Mike won. Hey,
Yeah.
move on. No, this is a real life situation, business situation that affects people's livelihoods.
Yep.
So you got to take that very serious.
So let's back up, right? So where'd you grow up? What'd your parents do? Where'd you go to school? Like, what led this career into, being a big deal, right? So like, how did that progress? Did you know you always wanted to be leadership? So give us a little background.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in upstate New York.
Yep.
A small town. Went to high school there. I attended Albany State University.
Smallbany, we call it.
Smallbany. It is Smallbany. It's a
Smallbany.
very small town. Very small town. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I mean, everybody was going to school, so you go to school.
Yep.
Without any goals or things in mind. I meet a lot of great people, have some fun, and go through. But as I began to look at myself and what I really liked doing, it certainly evolved around being with people and working with people, and which again connotates the sales unique ability that I think I possessed at a very young age. Didn't realize it.
Yeah, not
but
at
I
the
really enjoyed that. Not at the time.
What'd you study?
Business general
administration.
business administration. And that was good. It was good. But I wouldn't say I was nowhere near an A student. Okay, as most
Means you had a good time.
I had a nice time, and I took advantage of that time in my life to do the things that I thought were important. But at the end of the day, I would say that I never mind working. I never worried about putting in time. I actually, had the paper route back in the day when I was 8 years old. So I'm sure you had those jobs. You go to work in the family store, my uncle's donut shop, and hang out there for
sweep
a
the
couple of
floors
bucks a
or
day,
whatever,
sweep the floor, say hi to people, maybe once in a while pour a cup of coffee, and work the register. That was a big deal.
Yeah,
I can
me
work
a
the
lot of
register,
money.
man. Guy gives me $1, give him 75 cents back. Cool, man. But I think what really was the icing on the cake for me was when I graduated college. My MetLife is the company I was looking at, and I was looking at actually being in the adjusters business, meaning they had a P&C business, and it was a free company car with nice income, like $10,000-$12,000 a year.
Yeah, been nice income.
Big deal with a
Big deal
company
back
car.
then.
You couldn't take the company car out at night; you had to park it. But I interviewed with that side of the business.
Okay.
And at the time, well, not at the time, my father had worked for MetLife for 35 years as an agent. I don't know if you know that or not, but
I didn't.
Never in management, his own guy, small town.
Yeah.
Made
PNC or life insurance?
Life insurance.
Life insurance.
Yeah. As a mutual friend of ours used to say, it was whole life an uncompetitive term at the time.
Right.
But he did very well, and made, I would say, a nice income, MDRT level productivity.
Yeah.
But he was his own guy. He just did his own thing, had tremendous relationships in a small town. So he wanted me to meet the district manager that he had at the time, who was on the life insurance side.
Okay.
So that particular manager convinced me to go on their side of the house instead of the PNC side of the house. So I went from doing adjustments, fender benders, and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I never took the job in a company car
Sales.
to now jumping into a sales position.
100% commission, 100 hours a
100%
week,
commission.
knocking on doors.
Paid me $200 a week for 13 weeks.
Yeah.
And then boom, that goes away. But you had 13 weeks to build up a sales bank and a commission bank
Yeah.
that you get paid on. So I did that for 5 years, built a nice little practice. I then went into running an agency,
Okay.
a small agency in the Albany area. Did very well there for 5 years, and then I became a regional VP in Buffalo, which is basically managing 20 distribution offices.
Yep.
And then I became more involved in the higher level of the company, where I took over a territory. Then ultimately I ran MetLife and New England Financial's distribution.
Right. That's where we met.
That's where we first
met,
hooked
yeah.
up. And
So when you were brand new, right? At what point did you realize that you wanted to do leadership as opposed to just being an individual practitioner? What was the drive that said, hey, I see something more for me, what satisfies me? Not that there's anything wrong with being a practitioner.
Yeah.
Right. But for you, there was something that you liked about leading people. What was that as a young man?
Yeah, I would say that I always played sports.
Yep.
So while I did well on my own, I really was attracted and intrigued by the ability to build a team, meaning that you've got like kind around you, you're sharing things that you've learned, you're seeing people grow, changing in their lives. I had some other managers that I'd admired, within the system over the years.
Yeah.
And I just really admired with not only their style, their commitment, their success, but the passion they had for helping people to develop and grow. And to me, that was a big deal. I mean, that was really a big deal. And along with that came the opportunity to really grow your business and really extend your skill sets and funnel those skill sets and develop those skill sets at a level that was much more challenging.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that sales was boring. I could have done that the rest of my career. But I think wanting to expand and really reach and build an organization with your touch on it through people and helping them grow and build big businesses.
Build big business. That is hard to say,
Yeah,
right?
build
That's
big
interesting. So, and I think this is an important thing for young people out there. What I always encourage everybody to do is do leadership.
Yeah.
Now, so a lot of the people that I've said, hey, man, I see talent in you. I want you to go try to manage a team. I want you to go build an office. I want you to go build a region. I always say eagerness over readiness. Mm-hmm. But sometimes young people are, lack confidence in their abilities. They won't say it that way.
Right.
But, as a leader, I believe in people. And I know that you do as well.
Yeah.
And because I believed in a lot of people, that stimulated that desire to go, wait a minute, this person believes in me. Now I believe in somebody else. That person believes in somebody else. And that's what really is driven.
Right.
So I always tell young people to go into leadership. You made that decision. What advice would you give to the young person out there that's going, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I'm not sure. What would you tell them to go look for?
I would say that number one, after you've proven yourself at any profession, any position, there's lots of learnings that you've gone through to become successful as an agent, advisor, for example. Those principles and that discipline or the activity level that you created help you get there. The systems, the touch, the ability to communicate. Having that and understanding it, that's really a skill set that you could bring to someone to help them become successful in the business is really, really critical. But being able to articulate it, demonstrate it, making sure that it's repeatable.
Yeah. Over and over and over again.
Over and over again. Because how many times have you heard, just do what I do. You'll be fine.
Yeah, like Michael Jordan. Just
Just
take
do
the
what I do.
shot.
Just dunk a basketball, and I'm
Just dunk a
5'1".
basketball. What's the matter? You can't
Right.
jump 5 feet out of the air.
Yeah, right. Go do it. I did
go
it.
do it,
If
right,
I can
yeah.
do it, you can do it, Jason.
Yeah, anybody can do it.
And that's such crap.
Yeah.
And because, without systems, without leadership, without discipline, without proven tracks to run on, and someone making sure you're doing those things, you don't stand a chance.
Right.
So, but I've seen a lot, and by the way, think if you're the recipient of that conversation. You're new in the business, working for someone who's been in the business a long period of time, has all the toys imaginable, and you're admiring his lifestyle,
Yeah, everything that goes with it.
everything that goes with it, and he's telling you, just do what I did. I did it.
Yeah.
You can't.
Doesn't work that
It's
way.
depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, many people walk out of that conversation and go start looking for a job.
Right.
I'm not you.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
sometimes you can't even imagine being that person.
Right.
Because you're so far, there's so much distance between here and there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing you talked about is the confidence. I believe that many people hit the wall of growth because they lack self-confidence and they don't want to put themselves in a position that they may be embarrassed or lose some credibility with one of their clients. So typically, sort of a basic sale is good to get you started in the business, but you're going to hit the ceiling where you're going to get bored, not make enough money for your lifestyle, and you're going to be able to begin to question the business.
Right.
And the only way you fix that is to help someone grow by bringing them into additional markets, getting them product knowledge, making sure they get the education that they need within that market. Because if you don't have that, and you don't have the confidence to go to that next level, you don't believe you can go there unless you have the confidence,
Right.
and
Yeah.
tools. You're not even going to entertain it. You're going to just spend the rest of your career doing the same things you did in year 1, 2, and 3.
I've seen that. It's activity times case size.
Right.
So if you're chasing $10,000 rollovers as opposed to $2 million rollovers, it's the same work,
Same work.
except one happens to be way more lucrative than the other. The same thing, I say this to people all the time. If I was going to sell real estate, I would not sell $200,000 homes. I would only go after $20 million homes because that's where the money's at.
Right.
It's the same level of work. You got to show the house. You got to be nice. You got to be knowledgeable of your product.
Right.
But the product sale will generate a different lifestyle for you.
No,
when you
there's
get it.
no question. The average size case, your social, who you hang around with socially, your influence. You do an outstanding job of plugging people into markets.
Yep.
Plugging someone into a market to give them that self-confidence
Yeah, let's
of
go.
how a sale really works and how they've made some money and getting referred leads. And I mean, those are staples that you carry for the rest of your career.
Yeah.
And those are staples that even when you go to the third phase or fourth phase or whatever many phases there are, and your productivity is now $1 million of new business each and every year, you'll find that those principles are still intact. Maybe at a different level of activity, certainly with different people, higher face amounts, but as you said, why not?
Why not?
Why
Might as
do
well
I
go
wanna
for-
stay here?
If you want to get hit by a car, make sure it's a Mercedes and make sure you hang around the right neighborhood.
Exactly.
That's kind of that's
Exactly.
the way I've always,
That's
I've always looked at
exactly
it.
right. And I've seen that time and time work over and over again for many years. And there's a lot of successful people that do that. And then I've seen people kind of hit the wall and get burned out and their productivity levels off.
Yeah.
So always be growing, always be growing, always be growing, no matter how well the business is going, because the market changes.
Yep.
I mean, the government makes changes and regulates our business from time to time.
So here's a question, right? So, and I lived this experience, and I could go on for days of all the mistakes that I made as a young leader, right? So as I'm going through the ranks, as you did, district manager, whatever, VP, RVP, whatever these roles are, there are things that young people do, or immature leadership. It's not even young people. Let me rephrase that. There's things that folks do that are derailers. They don't know they're derailers. Mm-hmm. What are some of those derailers? And I'll share a bunch of them because I've done them all, but what are those derailers that you've seen people make that you obviously were able to navigate through, which is difficult as a corporate athlete?
Yeah. So as a manager or
Manager, VP,
Yeah.
as you've gone up the ranks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to go from one level to the next,
Yes. Yeah.
right? Because that's that lead up, sideways, all around.
Yeah. First, it starts with performance.
You gotta be
That's
unbelievable.
table stakes. I think
Right.
everyone knows that. But what level of performance, right? How do you handle yourself? I mean, you're in a job one day,
Yep.
in an agency. Everyone knows you. Now you're climbing to a regional. You're going in and making first impressions on people you're going to be leading,
Yep.
right? How do you dress? What's your first impression like,
Exactly.
right? I mean, what is your first impression? What are you going to talk about?
Yeah.
How are you going to get this person to have confidence in you and really make him feel comfortable
Yeah.
that you are his advisor and he's safe, he's secure, and you're trustworthy?
Yeah.
So that first impression, and I think that applies to management as well.
Agreed.
You know, when you go into a management room, whether you're with a chairman or you're with a bunch of your own associates, having the ability to understand what the need of the organization is, having the respect of the people in the room, and most importantly, having the ability to push back or maybe change the direction that we feel is going to be more effective is an art. It's an art.
It is.
And
Without pissing people off.
without pissing people off. And if a situation, if this decision is going what you think is the wrong way, you have to take time out.
Yeah.
Say, time out, ladies.
Let's
Time
talk
out,
a little.
gentlemen.
Let's take a
Do we
minute.
really want to go here?
Right.
Because from my view, here's what I think is going to be an impairment, and in fact may affect the productivity, profitability of our firm this year.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear that, especially the leader.
Nobody wants to hear it.
Nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah.
Right. But if you've got your facts and you can articulate that and get buy-in from around the room, you've done your job.
Right.
You may not get exactly what you want. You may not get none of it.
You get some
But I
of it.
really don't care.
Right.
You've got to speak up. Otherwise, you're sitting there just taking up space and not contributing in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to the people, your peers. That's not fair to the corporation, and certainly not fair, and it's never going to give you a true leadership recognition.
Right. Now, here's interesting, and I want to make sure this is really heard. Number one, any role in any leadership position, the number one thing you have to have in order to have a seat at the table is results.
Results.
Part of results means there's no excuses. There's no reasons why results aren't number one.
Right.
You are the leader.
Right.
It's ultimate ownership. You are the problem. You are the solution. And in order to be able to have any influence in any company at any level, you need to first be able to prove the fact that you can do the job.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
number one. Number two, and I think this is important for young people, I don't think that they understand, I definitely did not understand, but how you conduct yourself from an attire perspective says a lot about who you are.
Yeah.
Right? So always dress for the job and always position yourself to look like the job that you want, not the job that you have.
Exactly. That is so true. It is so true. Look at what your leader's wearing, how he presents himself, how he
Model.
talks, how he shakes hands, how he respects people, everyone. What does he do?
Yeah.
Right? I found that most great leaders, they'll go through an airport and stop and talk to a 10-year-old kid or
Yeah.
pet someone's dog. I mean, it has nothing to do, but just be yourself and
Yeah.
be
Be a
respectful.
good human.
Yes, and you know, dress the part.
Yeah.
You know, look like you know what you're doing, especially when you're new. And a lot of people say, "Fake it until you make it." Well, that's a little bit exaggerated,
Right.
but you don't stand a chance if you don't fit with the culture. And
right.
you don't fit within that organization's your organization's level of peers.
And the culture, I want everybody to understand that the culture is, right? Whatever the top person emulates is what you want to emulate.
Totally.
Right. So if that person is a suit and tie and you're in sweatpants and a t-shirt, you have a problem because that person views you as not mature enough to be in that position.
Yes.
And I always say today, I've never seen you with a beard. Have you ever had a beard?
No.
No, I've never seen you with one. You shave every day. I shave every day.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because you're saying something about your hygiene and the way you take care of yourself, whether you think so or not. I think young people today don't really understand the power of just hygiene and taking care of the way they look.
Right.
Right. They may look fine going out to the bar, but even then, if you go to the bar, dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have.
Yeah, because you never know who you're going to see.
You never know who you're going to
You
see.
never know who's sitting next to you. It could be your next multi-million-dollar client.
That's exactly right.
Right?
Yep.
And, and again, I'm sure people listening to this think it's kind of fundamental, but it's not.
No.
And you've got to pay attention.
Yep.
Are you in a position where you can exude the confidence to manage someone's financial net worth
Yep.
and help them get to another level?
Yeah.
And that is your personality, your first impression, how you look. And I think it goes back to the culture. And by the way, if you're a leader and you're dressing down or not the way you want your people to dress,
Yep.
it's just a matter of time before they start dressing like you,
It's 100% true.
right? So the culture, you triggered one more thought, Jason. I think it's critical for leaders, people who are entering leadership or considering leadership. And that is hiring the right people without a system. It's impossible for them to become successful.
Correct.
So we talked earlier about the system. Once you've got that and you bring someone into the business, the last thing you want to do is have that person leave. So hiring slow, where you put them through processes, and firing quick when you know they're making
exactly. That's right.
is also going to affect the culture. Because if you've got low producers hanging around at the coffee pot or saying, oh, this is not working out, I got to go someplace else, it grows, it spreads.
Cancerous.
It's cancerous. And even top producers. I mean, I've actually terminated top producers in our industry because they had the wrong mentality or they were poison to the organization.
I believe the best opportunities for career in life don't come through career services. The best way for you to become the best possible version of yourself and to achieve massive levels of success is for you to be hungry, coachable, and try to find those opportunities directly. Take the Power Back was created to flip that switch, to not have any limitations in terms of the opportunities that are out there in front of you. That's what this platform is really all about. Real jobs, real access, real opportunities, and most importantly, no gatekeepers. Are you serious about success? Then let's take the power back. Join the movement. I've always said that high performers, not shared values, gotta go.
They got to go.
They gotta go.
Yeah. No matter how much money they bring in.
Doesn't matter how talented they are, if you're not aligned with your values, the friction that you have to deal with. I fired a kid here in Tampa, and I used to say, I don't want to say his name, but you occupy too much time in my brain.
Yeah.
And you're a great performer.
Yep.
But I find myself arguing with you all the time about just trying to help you become better.
Right.
And we argue in agreement. So our values are not aligned.
Right.
So I love you.
Right.
And I think you'll be wildly successful. Just someplace else.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're not arguing with him anymore.
I'm not arguing with him anymore. And I actually, we're friendly now.
Yeah.
I mean, I see him at weddings. And I think he's a great guy. And I think he's a wonderfully productive person. Just not for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
But again, I've also learned on the other side, people hang on to those people. And why do they hang on to them? Managers hang on to non-performers or people who are bad for the culture. Why is that?
Because they don't recruit enough people to change the people.
Amen. They don't have a replacement.
They don't have a replacement.
They're held hostage by a non-performer or someone who's ruining their culture.
Right.
You ruin the culture, you lose your business.
Yeah. You have one top producer and you've got everybody else in the middle who doesn't do anything.
Right. Well, he's not doing it.
Right.
He's not coming to the meetings. He doesn't have to do this.
That's right.
He doesn't wear a tie. Why should I?
Exactly.
So I just think, I've seen it too many times. You can see it coming.
Yep.
All leaders, all good leaders know it's there. And then sometimes they fail to deal with it.
Right.
Maybe next week. No, you got to call it right away.
Yeah.
You see something going bad, call it right away.
Yeah. Now, this is something, too, and I think you've done this exceptionally well, and you've watched this, and we've all seen this, right? We've been to conferences, and, being a corporate athlete, I think sometimes people we're too friendly.
Yes.
Right? Where people they put their guards down thinking that this person would not knife them as a corporate athlete, and they would knife you as a corporate athlete, right? Whether that you drink too much in front of these people, or you stay out too late in front of these people, or you confide in them in ways that you think they're going to be on your side, and it actually works against you.
Yes.
Could you share some of what your point of view in terms of, they're not your friends, right? It's still business. We're friendly. We like each other and we work together really well. But when the day is done, your role particularly, but as you're moving up, the daggers come out from people that are weak. Yeah. So what has been your experience with that?
My experience is I've seen people lose their careers by getting too close and trying to incorporate the personal lives with the business life.
Yeah.
And it's hard to back out of that as a leader. So I think you have to certainly spend time with your people. If you want to have a glass of wine or have them over for the holiday party or whatever it might be, those are great. I mean, we need to do that. It's part of the job.
It's a relationship.
It's a relationship. But to the extent that you're going out and partying with people and becoming close friends with those people and you're developing a relationship more about off court than you are on court, it's the death knell of many leaders. And I think that sometimes leaders feel good about these successes and the accomplishment, and they let their guard down. And as soon as you do that, there's probably a good chance you're going to do it again and again and again. So my advice is that, one, when you go to corporate events, there's no problem having a drink or a glass of wine, but to be out late at night and
No strip joints.
no strip joints, none of the
Anybody's doing anything that you wouldn't do in front of your mother, don't
don't
do it.
do it. Don't do it. Don't even hang
do
around
it.
the people that are doing it.
Nope, walk away.
Walk away.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's lots to do,
Yeah.
on your laptop that you can
Plenty of other
work,
email.
go have
whatever
dinner
you want.
with you and your spouse, or, a friend in town, or whatever it might be. But I think that because most of those conferences are celebratory, we're celebrating our accomplishments, people have a tendency to let their guard down as leaders. And once that happens, sometimes, to a point where you get HR or legal involved, because people may feel one way during the event, and they're going to feel another way when they get back home, and usually it's not very good. Right. So, and you can't buy your way into the agent's productivity or anyone's productivity.
No.
I mean that's another trap. That I got to send my people to this trip or that trip or that trip. Well, yeah, this year it's $1,000. Next year it's $2,000. Next time they want to bring their spouse. Next time it's another $5,000. And before you know it, they're threatening you to leave unless you pay their trip to somewhere around the world.
Right.
And that's so there's multiple challenges with that. And people, while they'd love to have you around, I think for the most part, the people don't expect you to be around.
No, they don't want you to be there.
They don't want you there. They want to talk about you.
Exactly. That's exactly what
They want to talk about how much of a jerk we are.
Right.
They can't do that unless we leave the room.
That's right. So let's get out of the way.
Let's get out of the way. Let those guys,
Yeah, I had a leader. Well, you met Ray.
Yeah.
Right, and Ray, he talks about there's no entitlement, there's no Coke refills.
Right.
Right. So he said we don't try to give anybody anything except for recognition when they do the best possible job. But it doesn't need to be a trip or dinner. None of those things. No. It can just be a thank you for doing a good job.
Picking up the phone, dropping him a note, saying,
handwritten note.
I really appreciate the business.
Thank
You
you
had a
for
hell of
the
a
business.
week.
Yeah.
You had a great month.
Pick up the phone. Just say,
Right.
hey, man, I just saw those numbers. You are killing it. Hey, would you speak in front of my troops?
Right.
Would you talk in front of my group to recognize your talent?
Right.
Is just as powerful as sending them to a steak dinner or something.
No, there's no question. And by the way, and another side of that is, when you ask them to go to dinner, they'll always go because you're the boss.
That's right.
It may be inconvenient, and they may have responsibilities at home with their children or whatever. But I found that people will always say yes,
even though they don't want to.
even though they don't want to go, and they'll say to their spouse, "I got to go. Jason asked me out for dinner." Well, that isn't why Jason asked you out. He wanted to make you feel good and give you some recognition. This shouldn't be punishment.
Yep.
Right.
It's funny. The same thing happens when you're like, I ask feedback. Oh, how was the meeting? Everybody's like, it was amazing. It was absolutely the best meeting ever. And I always say to myself, I'm like, no, it wasn't. You actually could be honest with me, but nobody's ever going to be honest with you.
Nobody's going to be honest with you.
When you're the boss, nobody's honest with you.
No. This is I think it's pretty funny, but actually puts that really clear into how that happened. So I remember being in a meeting, whatever it was, at Leaders Conference or a top producer meeting. And I just walked in. So the opening night we had a reception. So the first time we saw each other was that reception.
Yeah.
Walk in. It wasn't 15 minutes into the reception. I had, producer come up and said, "Mike, this is a great meeting." And I thought about saying this for years, but then I finally said, "So what do you like about it?"
Yeah, right. What do you like about it?
And he takes another drink out of his gin and tonic and says, "Oh, I just love being in California.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's a great state. So you like California? You're not talking about the meeting yet,
Right.
No, but I know
Sapphire.
it's a great meeting. I mean, look, you gave me a hat. Look at this. I mean, this is great. Thank you for having me." So it's like people say that,
Yeah.
but it would be nice if someone would say, "The workshops were really great today. However,
Yeah.
this particular one, I don't think was relevant."
Yeah.
I mean, so
Candor is important.
it's critical.
Candor is important.
Yeah.
It's hard. That's that lead up, down, side to side.
Yep.
Because some people, you bruise their egos that can't take it.
Yeah.
Right. So you're like, oh, do I say something? Do I not say something? And sometimes it's just don't say anything.
Yeah.
But that doesn't create progress at times.
No, it creates no progress. In fact, it can backfire on you.
Right.
I mean, the other thing that I think is critical as a leader, and you do this all the time, I've watched you do it, is you'll always introduce me to your team.
Yes.
Mike, this is Joe. Joe's one of our leading producers. He's our leading manager. Let me tell you about what he did.
Right.
Let me tell you about where he came from. And Joe, this is Mike. Why don't you, share with him how you think things are going, or is there any feedback? I mean, that's a good way to really show the people you're leading that they're important to them, and you in fact introduce them.
Right.
Not only to an EVP or someone who's a CEO of the company, but to other top producers and other people in the organization, because it tells them you're proud of them.
Yeah.
Right?
And I am, and you are too.
Yeah, very proud of them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I look, successful career in sales is tough. Building your own business is tough.
It is.
If you've got $2 million to buy a McDonald's franchise, have at it. Okay,
Right.
It's
Still
tough.
hard.
Still hard.
Still
It's
hard.
tough. And you probably make a 125, 130,000 with one store.
Yeah.
Okay. If you think at our business, and the recipe for success, the standards, the professionals, and the people you interact with, the recognition, the money that's available, without any capital up front,
There's no better business.
there's no better business than ours. And there's never
No.
been a better time, Jason, than today.
Correct.
To be an advisor. Right?
So true.
People are living longer. They're buying more products as they live longer.
Yep.
Right? They're working longer, so they're accumulating more money. Right? And you think about the array of products that we have on our platform, and you have on your platform.
Yeah.
It's pretty broad.
It's amazing. That's all you got to do is go hustle.
You just gotta-
you
you gotta
can build
work.
a massive business.
You're gonna have to work.
Yeah.
I mean, you go and become a retail manager or whatever it may be.
Yep.
You have to go back to work every single year with the same money, and maybe a 5 or 10%, not 10% anymore, but 4 or 5% inflation fight or raise,
Yeah.
right? A merit increase. Where in our business, the longer you're there, the more your residuals build up.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And then, within a couple of years, you've got over a couple $100,000 coming through without any sales.
Yeah, doing nothing except
can't-
for servicing
Right.
your existing book.
You're in pharmaceutical sales, what do? You don't get
Yeah,
residuals.
start at zero.
Start all over again.
Right. Well, let me ask you this question. So, Amerilife is an interesting business to me as a business owner. So, it's not a secret. You folks acquired 60% of our business. So, Amerilife is a sponsor of a private equity firm that purchased a big chunk of ours. It was a life-changing experience for me. So, as I say to Mike, thank you. We were downstairs
Thank you.
admiring. Yeah, thank you, both of us, right? But it's a fascinating business to me because you buy a bunch of different businesses. You're businesses of businesses, all different cultures, all different walks of life. You get to see unique entrepreneurs, founders, and I consider myself in that. So me as a corporate athlete, I was a corporate athlete. I was nowhere near as good at that as you are. I could never be as good at it as you were. That led me to not having any really other options because I was never going to be you and I wanted to be. So I started my own and became a founder. Being a founder is very different. What have you found when you meet all these founders what's the common denominator of what makes them successful versus what would not have made them successful as a corporate athlete?
Yeah.
From your perspective.
Yeah. Number one, they own it. They own their decision.
Yeah.
I think you're living proof of that. You decided to go and be a founder and build your own business. And you knew you were going to be successful, and you knew how to do that because of your experiences over a lifetime. So the passion, the commitment, and most importantly, the willingness to invest in the business, to get the business off the ground and provide the support is what I see in the entrepreneurial world. They're not afraid to take a risk.
Yep.
They're out there. They're way ahead of their game. They spend a lot of time planning, thinking, reading, studying,
Yeah.
right? Looking at mistakes that are made in the past.
Yeah. Try not to make those again.
Try not to make those again, right? And I think the more you do that, the less mistakes you're going to make. Second thing is they have the ability to attract people because your business will only grow so much. I don't care what business it is, and then you're going to have to start adding associates and people. I mean, if you're running a hot dog stand and you're really good at it, okay, you're probably going to open up more stores and more stores and more stores. So having a bench of people that know the system without compromising the system,
Yeah.
right? And are in sync with you is important. And the way you do that is you have to invest in those people. You have to select the right people, invest in them, and then have the ability to take some risk along the way to gain market share.
Interesting. So it's I talk about entrepreneurship a lot, and most people that start a business end up creating a job for themselves.
Yep.
And as a leader that ran organizations and built organizations and did takeovers, what I wanted to do is I was just trying to recreate my job as an executive, right? So I was like, I got to recruit people, train the hell out of them, develop the shit out of them, and then let them go run their own businesses. And that was the mindset associated with it.
Yep.
Right. And if you do that and you do that really well and you let people make decisions to grow and develop themselves, but you give them all the tools, like you said, it's that box, it's amazing what they'll do.
It is amazing. And again, it sounds good. Having the discipline to not compromise, because the other thing, I think Jason comes in the way, and you've been outstanding at this, I've watched you, is you stay focused on the task at hand.
Yeah.
You don't get derailed. I mean, your time schedule, your appointment schedules, your ability to take someone who's maybe struggling a little bit and get them back in line versus going out and working on something else.
Yep.
I think you clean up messes very well, or things that aren't going exactly the way they should be or the way you planned on them going.
Yeah.
So having that finger on the pulse, I don't care if it's 4 people or 400 people.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do it all with 400, but your leadership team should be accountable to give you that same report or same feeling that you would have if you were running all 400 of those people.
Yeah, and it's really important. I think that's advice that I always give to people, and I'm sure you do, is that you got to stay close to the work.
Yeah.
Right. So because otherwise, people will make excuses for lousy results.
Yes.
And then if you're close to the work, the excuses are just excuses. The results are the leader.
That is paramount.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing I would add. I mean, so yeah, understanding it, because it's a fast moving business, right? I mean, things are changing daily, and if you can't hold people accountable for the things that are guaranteed their success, which you can't if you don't know what's going on,
right?
And you haven't kept up yourself, it's just a matter of time before your credibility or your inability to communicate with the group behind the group that's already with you is coming in, because their values are different. I mean, look, you've got, baby boomers, Generation X, Gen Z, you've got all these generations out there who think differently than you and I do. And that's great. That's what you want. But you got to find a way to communicate and hold them accountable and lead them to the standards that they need to have to become successful. But at the same time, understand they may not get there the same way that you did.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, you when they're ready, you entertain that and you let them have a little bit more flex. But for the most part, that recipe for success coming out of the gate and having the ability to change and keep the relationships is really a unique ability that most leaders don't do very well. Right. They get the ceiling of complexity.
The Pareto principle.
Pareto principle.
Yeah.
I had a little bit more simple to understand, but I remember when I first got into leadership, I knew you, I know what your wife's name was, I know you had a cat, I know you had a dog, I knew your address, I knew you went to school. You can probably do that up to about 15, 20, 30 people.
Yeah, then you can't.
And then all of a sudden, you don't know anything about that individual, which really got you the level of success because you had a good relationship with them.
Yep.
So you've got to find a way to fill that gap of things that make a difference and invest the money and certainly pay attention to the details of what's going on.
And it's value, right? Ultimately, people lead with their feet or on their leader.
Yep.
So what they always say, it's the leader, always the leader. If the results are down, it's the leader, it's always the leader.
Always the leader.
And it doesn't, resources are always going to be limited. It's always about providing a value proposition to the people.
Right.
And if you provide a value proposition, even though you don't know their cat's name, they're going to stay and they're going to continue to charge forward because you're helping them grow.
You're helping
them
grow.
It's all about their growth. It's all about them.
People make money. People leave people say, "Oh, I left the business because I didn't like it." No, you weren't successful.
Right.
How did you know? Well, how long your paycheck is.
How do you know? Numerically. How do you get measured? Numerically, right?
Paycheck.
Yeah. It's the scorecard.
Right. If you're making less than what your mortgage is, you're probably not going to stay.
That's right. That's right.
So it's not rocket science. It's how do you keep them doing the things that keep
Necessary.
them in the business, the same as a leader. What button do I need to push?
Yeah.
You know, and so only way you do that is to be on the job. You can't do that from afar.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. You know, how long you been in the business?
35 years.
35 years. Okay. So 35 years ago, you're a young guy getting out of college. Dad was a life insurance agent. You started in an office. You do that for 5 years. You go, you know what? I like leading people. I'm going to be a manager. Next thing you know, and next thing you know, you're rich, right? I mean, it's like, I don't say that very, you know, I mean that respectfully, right? So did you ever think when you were 22 that this is where you'd be?
No, not at all. Not at all. I felt that I always had the work ethic. So the one thing that got me through a lot of this is, and this is old-fashioned, I'm sure some of the viewers will say that, I worked hard.
Yeah.
I worked hard, I stayed focused. Every time I felt myself like, oh, maybe I'll do a little something different and get away from this and change the model and, you know, blah, 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 not get involved in certain things that I used to be involved with, it became a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if it just started with me mentally saying, okay, you're not in touch, you're not focusing as much. So the work ethic, I think, is critical. And again, I'll go back to not 7 days a week, you know, not 7 days and 7 nights a week, to say the least. And some people think that's the only way you do that. When I talk about working harder, it's taking time out and understand what's really going on and what the real challenges are. Yeah. Doesn't mean you have to be in front of those people. It doesn't need to be, need to be shoveling a ditch all day long.
Right.
It's about being smart about the current situation and then having the ability to communicate and bring that back together.
Yeah, it's that quadrant 2 thinking. It's important, not urgent. It's the planning. It's the strategy. It's the working on your business, not just in your business every single day, will actually free you from doing the everyday business.
Right. Absolutely.
Most leadership or business owners or practitioners spend most of their time exactly where they were Groundhog Day every day, and that's where the burnout comes.
That's the burnout. And, you know, there's a lot of talented people in this business, but, you know, the best meetings I go to are not the ones where I'm in Hawaii and I get to play golf, and those are great. You get to know people, and that's fine. We've got to do that. But the ones that you sit around a room and talk about the business.
Yeah, masterminding.
Masterminding, you know, Jason, how are you recruiting so many people per year? How come the per rep productivity is so high? How do you really get these people who come right out of college and before you know it, they're making 6 digits on their way to being millionaires in their 20s?
Yeah, early 20s.
Right? Early 20s.
Yeah.
And, you know, here they are in college and they're well on their way to a level of income that will change their lives, their families' lives.
Forever.
Yeah. And it's a trade and a practice that you can tweak and continue to grow each and every year. The market will never dry up.
Yeah.
It'll never dry up.
No. AI will never replace a salesperson.
AI will never, ever replace a nice office with the waterfalls and all the other things that people talk about.
They love it.
Will not replace that.
Nope. Nothing will.
Nothing will. Face to face, people want to put their net worth, their investments with people they trust, they have access to, has the same values that they have, and continuously communicates with them.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I'm on my 4th financial planner personally, and I started.
Fired the other 3.
I fired the other 3. Yeah, I mean, because here's why: most people are afraid to go to situations where the market is corrected. Mm-hmm. It's down 20%. The last thing an agent typically wants to do is call the client and say, hey, pleased to tell you you're down 20%.
Yeah.
Worst thing you do is not call that person.
Oh, absolutely.
You call and say, here's what's happening. We've got a market correction. Here's what's going on.
Yeah.
We expect it to, but let's move some assets around a little bit.
Yeah, here's what we should be doing.
But usually when you don't get the call, and all 4 3 people I've fired, they never got in touch with me.
That's insane.
They did not get in touch when there was a market, whether it's 9/11, whether it was 2008. There's always going to be market corrections.
Always.
Right? And what happens, the client will blame the financial advisor because they don't know how they got down 20%.
Right.
There's a good chance that they participated in that decision.
Yeah. No communication. That's
no communication. It goes back to the communication. Pick up the phone and talk.
Yeah, communicate. communicate
Right.
and over-communicate
Right.
again.
And you're going to be all right. Let me show you some information. It's happened before.
Yep. So you've got 3 kids. We just talked about this earlier.
Yep.
Your youngest is right on the cusp of Gen Z,
Yeah.
right? Amerilife has hired some really talented Gen Z people. I picked one of them off. He will be our future CFO, Jack, as you
Jack.
know. And there's a couple more that I got my eye on.
Yep.
What do you see in the Gen Z generation with even your son, the people you work with at Amerilife, the younger people, the generation that you bring in? What's your impression of these folks?
And again, I've got one at home, so I've lived this. I'm living it now. Very, very intelligent, extremely intelligent people. Technology, students of the technology. They'll see a situation or be in a situation and always think about how do I improve that situation and make it better.
Yeah, critical thinking skills.
Critical thinking.
Off the charts with this generation.
Jason, I can't tell you how many firms where I've known the dad or the mom, or it might be, and they're at their tail end of their career, and they bring in their son or their daughter from that generation, and the productivity goes through the roof.
Really,
2 or 3 years,
and just goes.
And that's because they bring a different view to the business.
Yeah,
they bring the technology. They recognize they need to be in touch with people. The other thing I see with that generation is the work ethic and wanting to win, the competitiveness of that group. And you don't read that in the paper. You don't hear that.
You absolutely don't.
These kids are extremely bright. They know what they want. They're locked and loaded in terms of the credentials and the intelligence to be able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
And just because they're not going out and working 12 hours or 14 hours a day, like many of the people were in the business before them, and Saturdays and Sundays, and they're doing it smarter and making a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah, be more productive.
Per
hour.
And they're anxious to learn. And so an example is mine, Benny. He's started with a company right out of school, got his finance degree, had no interest in being a finance degree, but being a marketing guy like myself, I said, Ben, get your finance degree, because no matter where you are, they're usually the last people to get fired.
Yep.
Okay.
They need them.
They need them.
Right.
But he wanted to be in sales. I mean, he knew that the opportunity was in sales. He's had enough experience through his internships and things like that. So he joined a company in their finance program, went through the auditing process. How do you audit? And he's working his way up. He just took on his first sales account, very large corporation. And he was the youngest person to ever get appointed to that job.
Wow.
But he, from day one, let his bosses know, that's where I want to end up.
Right.
And he kept asking me, should I do this? Should I do this? He got the job. He called me and says, I'm not sure I should have done this.
Yeah, for what you wish for.
I said,
right?
Ben, look at the corporation.
Yeah, it's
look
a
at
great
the senior
corporation.
leadership.
Yeah.
Where did they come from? They all came from sales debt. Oh, so they didn't come from the CFO's position.
No.
They didn't come from the mailroom. They came from sales.
Yeah.
And then not every one of them, probably few of them, I guess, have a Harvard degree.
Yeah.
Right? So it's about the work ethic, understanding what drives the business. It's sales, and he gets that. And he learned that through the finance. It's performance.
That's all it is.
If you don't have salespeople in any corporation, and if you want to climb the ladder in an organization and recognize that revenue drives the company's profit, everything, right? Then you better understand how it works.
Right.
And so I think that the perception of many of the people my age or senior leaders in corporations may not have the same view, but I think in our business, you got to give them the track to run on.
You got to have systems, processes.
They're looking for leadership.
Yep.
They're looking to make a nice living for their family. The other thing that goes along with that is a lot of them want to spend more time with their families on the weekends. Right? Or at night. So having a predictable income, a high predictable income,
it's a lot more fun.
It's a lot more fun. You can deliver, a lot of benefits to your family, short and long term, by making that commitment. So these kids are aggressive. They're smart. They follow. They ask a lot of questions.
They do.
A lot of questions, a lot more.
Yep.
And some leaders don't want to participate in that.
No,
they don't want to give them the answers. They want to feel that.
Yep.
And that's probably why we don't hire as many as we should be.
Yep.
But and by the way, I'll say this about Ben, because you've got it going on. The reason he stayed at Granger after college and now sees a great future there is because of the opportunity to grow. He's on his third position within the company.
How long has he been there?
He's been there 5 years.
Yeah. Third position.
Third position.
Yeah. He's chasing it.
He's chasing it. And he told me, he said, Dad, why sales? And he's got the whole thing. He's seen me in sales, obviously. He's benefited from that, obviously. But it's a risk. He said, I'm in this nice, comfortable financial management world. Right? And now I'm going into sales. I said, what do you think? I said, you better deliver.
Yeah.
That's better deliver.
Now's your opportunity to
Now's your opportunity. You've been rehearsing this. You've been practicing for it, right?
Right.
Now's your deal. So I think that those, and you talk about loyalty from that group.
Yep. Oh, Granger people?
The age group that we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're loyal.
They are so loyal and so passionate and loyal beyond any group I've ever worked with, quite frankly.
Yeah.
They really care.
If they respect and appreciate the leadership, so that once they recognize that you have their best interests at heart, which we have to look in the mirror to make sure that whatever we do, we put their interests first.
Right.
We give them a vision of what it can look for. They'll run through walls for it.
Yes, they will.
And they will be as loyal as long because you're being loyal to them.
Right.
So you get loyalty when you give loyalty.
Yep.
You gain respect when you give respect.
Yep.
All those things are, it's the law of inertia.
Yep.
Right. So when you're pushing, it's pushing back at you. Same idea with it.
It's totally the same idea. And hey, look, there's not a lot of leadership out there that can do that.
Unfortunately.
I mean, having that honest advantage and understanding that. That's what I mean about studying, spending time, and making sure you understand what you bring to the table and the people you get along with, right? Which is another mistake I've seen managers. Well, great credentials, great resume, but he's got these few. I'm going to put up with it. No, I'm not putting up with it.
No.
If you don't like that individual, and this is, again, it's true in any leadership position, you don't have things in common,
Yep.
right?
Got to work with them every day. So
You got to work with them every
you've
day.
got to-
Why would you
get to do
compromise that?
Right. So let me ask you, Mike, what's, you're 35 years, what's the next, what's your next move? What are you envisioning as you think about, are you going to retire? When are you going to retire? What are you thinking? Where's your head at? What do you like doing? You always reach this place. This is where I am in my life. It's like, I only do the things that I really want to do, not that I have to do. And I'm sure you're in the same spot.
I'm in the same spot. I don't think I'll ever retire. I mean, providing, I have the health and I've got support from the family, and I enjoy what I do. I really enjoy what I do. Do I want to continue to do what I'm doing? I think I can probably add more value and more of a coaching and a strategic level.
Yep.
I'm doing it now, but you've got the sales organization that requires a lot of attention.
Right.
And I think our company, the industry is growing at such a rapid speed. I've got a lot of experiences and interest in making another difference at a higher level. I don't mean higher in terms of position, but I think in terms of masses and maybe people I haven't been involved with before.
Yep.
And I think the leadership skills that I've learned over the years, and I've been able to tune and keep up with the pace that I've been running at, are solid. I don't think they deviate that much over time. And I think having an opportunity to talk more about strategy and then building the strategy that makes a difference for many years to come with an organization is where I can play best. At the same time, still having interaction and relationships with the distribution, because to me, I'm very passionate about distribution.
Been doing it for 35 years.
35 years. I love it. I know what we should be doing and have to be doing, and the issues that I've learned are throughout the entire industry, in every business, that is in addition to our industry. So these are fundamental things that get violated all the time, and similar to what you've done, you've learned over the years, and now you are the founder.
Yeah.
And you've worked in other organizations, other companies, and I've always done well. And you could have always given yourself a paycheck.
Yep. Yep.
But taking that paycheck and that leap to do your own deal Right, and sort of that's what I see. So I see a lot of opportunity in that arena, but I don't see myself
Stopping.
stopping and playing 18 holes a day and,
It's tough.
and a big old cheeseburger and a couple of beers and hear the same old bullshit the next
Still
day.
good gas in the tank.
It's like,
Still good gas in the
go
tank.
back and do it all over again.
That's right.
I mean, I don't, and I also I've thought a lot about some charitable foundation work.
Yep.
And there's a lot of needy people in this country, here in Tampa. I mean, there's lots of need for kids who need some guidance and direction. So I would like to do something like that. I think our veterans are in dire need of more people getting involved. Yeah. But the principles that I've acquired and the learnings that I have, I think can be applied to any one of those, because everyone looks for strong leaders. Whether
Everybody
it's
needs
voluntary,
leadership.
whether it's for $5 million a year, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
And it'd be a shame to let that go and just walk away.
Well, let me be the first to say thank you. Our relationship, the connections that we've made over the years has changed my life, my wife's life. We're living in it. We're sitting in it right now.
Spectacular.
I'm humbled by it.
Yeah.
I also want to say thank you for taking the time for helping us take the power back. That whole, as you know, this is my passion project, and I think you share that passion because you share the desire for other leaders to grow, the next generation to take over, and you've seen over all these years that young generation has always been the catalyst to the next generation.
It's always been.
Always been that way.
It's always been.
And I appreciate your support, and I appreciate your friendship. So thank you for coming out and doing the deal.
It was my honor. Thank you for asking me. And as I've said before, you've really made a huge impact on my organization, on Amerilife's organization, on the industry. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have a lot of passion around doing things the right way and helping people become extremely successful. And I also thank you for the presentation at my last planning board meeting. You got two apostles within that group, who's an experienced group, as you know, that are now following your systems. So that's a real big accomplishment.
Thank you.
Because you've come in kind of from a different place than most of the people at the planning board has. You're doing extremely well, but to be able to communicate, get people's buy-in is really a tribute to you and Allison and your entire organization.
Yeah, so. Thank you. More to come.
More to
Stay
come.
tuned.
Can't wait,
Stay
buddy.
tuned.
I can't wait.